Hey there, it is Christine. Welcome if you are viewing this on my blog or my YouTube channel. Welcome. If you are on my YouTube channel, I would love it if you would hit the subscribe button if you want to keep up to date with the videos that I post. If you are brand new here, I am mama to 3. I have 3 little ones who are currently all under the age of 5. And I am a work-at-home mom. I run a couple of blogs, and I love to share parenting tips with other parents and also share how other mamas can work from home like I do. So I have links to both my blogs in the description below if you want to check them out. But today I wanted to talk about a sleep training method that I have used with 2 out of 3 of my children, and that is the Moms on Call method. I wanted to talk to you about my experience and what you should expect from the method itself. So if you're interested, keep watching. So this video is kind of for the person who has never even heard about the Moms on Call method before. I have a blog post where I talk about the method, and I'll have that linked in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. But basically it is a sleep training method, but it's not only a sleep training method. So I stumbled across the Moms on Call method. I don't know how I found it. It was probably in a Facebook group somewhere. That's how I found out about a lot of stuff. Just word of mouth from other mamas. And I had my second baby. I think she was a newborn when I found it. It might have been just before I had her. I can't quite remember. But I started implementing some of their strategies, and I really, really liked it. Now, previous to Moms on Call, I was using the Babywise method, and I still used the Babywise method with all of my babies, but it was always a hybrid version of the Babywise method. My first son was a chronic 45-minute napper for like the first 9 months of his life. So I had to just figure things out and make it work for us. And that's what I recommend every parent does with their child. You know your child best, and you know what they need. So don't just like take a book, and the rules in the book and just stick to those if it's not working for you. Like, look around, do your research, and do what works for you. So I love the Babywise method, but I love Moms on Call probably a little bit more. And I'll go into why in just a second. So a brief overview of what it is. It's written by 2 pediatric nurses who have years of experience, which is really helpful to know that you're getting information from people who actually know what they're talking about. It is a sleep training method, but it's also a basic baby care guide. Like, they go into just basic baby care, the things that you're going to need. They have like really helpful lists, how much your baby's going to need to drink, their sleep needs. Like, it's a really comprehensive book that is very helpful, and I would recommend it to brand new moms, especially if you like are clueless. This book is going to be really helpful. They actually have, I think, at least 2 if not 3 books. So they have 0 to 6 months, which is the one I'm talking about now, and that's what I've used with my children. And then they've got 6 months to a year, I believe, and then I think they have a toddler one as well. So they cover everything from like newborn care through to potty training. They really do have a comprehensive guide. And I've always just used the Kindle version of it because it was like something I would purchase on Amazon, and I didn't want to wait for it to arrive, so I always just use a Kindle version. And really, when you have a newborn and you're like feeding all the time, it's helpful to have something on your phone to read. So that is a basic outline of what the book is about, like baby care in general. As far as sleep training, it is a very cut and dry method. I love it for that reason, because it's like a step-by-step instruction thing. And that's personally what I felt like the Babywise method lacked in. Like, I felt it was too wishy-washy. I didn't have all the answers that I needed. Whereas I find with Moms on Call, it's very straightforward, and they tell you exactly what you need to know and how to implement it. There's nothing like crazy genius about their methods. I think it's just that they put it all together in a really succinct way that is easy to follow. Like, it's not new information, let's put it that way, but it is 100% worth it because it gives you a plan to follow right from the get-go. I'm going to put a disclaimer out there. They are not weary of advising you to allow your baby to cry for small intervals at a time from a young age, and I know that is not going to sit well with some people, and so that's fine. If that's not you, then move on by, because you won't enjoy the method and you won't agree with it. However, I have never been worried about letting my babies cry for a little bit, and quite frankly, when you have 3 children who are all very young, it's inevitable. Like, I cannot be there for all of them every second of the day. Like, one kid needs something and the other one's going to have to wait, and that's just life. So this was really helpful in that sense. So I started using it with my second baby. She slept through the night She was sleeping 8 to 9 hours around 8 weeks old, and then sleeping through, I think, around 4 months. And then I used it pretty exclusively. I didn't really use the baby wise method at all. Well, a little bit with my third. I basically used Mom's on Call the whole way through, and she was sleeping through the night 12 hours by 3 months of age, and she did really, really well with it. So they focus on the daytime. They give you a routine to follow, and you can like tweak it to suit your day. But what I love is they have these feeds that they call like the crazy time feeds. So everything else can sort of go out the window if you have a crazy day, but they just ask you to stick to these like 2 feeding times that are really important. And as a really busy mama and a mom with a newborn, where newborns aren't necessarily like born on a schedule, you know what I mean? It gives you some grace there. So that's really helpful. And then they focus heavily on bedtime routines and establishing a really consistent, healthy bedtime routine, which is great. And then they have something which I personally really love and found very effective, was called soothing rounds. So they will encourage you to, when your baby wakes either from a nap or from in the middle of the night, if it's not time for them to have a feed or just to like extend their feeds at night, you will allow them to cry. At the beginning, it's like 2 to 5 minutes. So it's a very like small amount of time. And they ask you to wait and let your baby wait 2 to 5 minutes, whether your baby's crying or not, just wait. If they're still crying at the end of that time, you go to them and soothe them. And then you walk away for another 2 to 5 minutes and repeat the process again of soothing them, and then do it one more time. So you do it 3 times total. And if you're like, a lot of the time, my babies would just go back to sleep. Like they weren't actually awake and ready for a feed. They were just making noise in their sleep, or, you know, they were just getting through a sleep transition and they would carry on sleeping for an hour or 2 longer. But if my babies were still crying at the end of that time, then I would go in and feed them. And then over time, you gradually extend the amount of time you allow them to cry for with whatever you're comfortable with. They do give you guidelines, but it is up to your discretion. And I found that really, really effective for my children. They slept through from a young age. And for me, it's not all about like, my baby must sleep through the night, but it's about teaching them healthy sleep habits or establishing those healthy sleep habits, because really, it's not so much about teaching them how to sleep. It's just that we, once they are born, set up these sort of like routines and stuff, and babies become dependent on them, you know, because we're teaching them, you know, the environment that they should fall asleep in, as opposed to just allowing them to. So it's just about making sure that they develop independent sleep skills from a young age. And like, sure, we've had like bumps along the way where we've had sleep regressions and like disruptions from teething and sickness or whatever. And I just want to say to any mom out there who might be worried about like letting their babies cry, because there is that whole thing of people like, oh my gosh, they think you're abandoned and you're just teaching them not to cry for you. I can 100% assure you that it is not the case. If my children, like my eldest is 4 now, if he has a bad dream or he's sick, he calls for us and he knows that we're going to be there. All of my children, if there's something wrong, then they will cry out. And I know, because they don't usually wake up during the night, I know that there's something wrong if they're crying or calling out for us. So for me, it actually gives me a lot more guidance as a parent, because I know what their different cries mean, and that they don't need to like be fed or, you know, whatever. But I'm still there to comfort them and to love them and do whatever I need to, you know, in the night. It's not like you're just abandoning your child. Mums on Call is a big advocate for like stepping back and listening to your child before just like jumping up and responding with the first thing that pops into your mind. So it's more about stepping back, listening to them. And Baby Wise is a lot like this too. And like thinking about what could potentially be the issue and then acting before just like diving in and feeding them every single time, because that often is not the solution to the problem. So yeah, Baby Wise and Mums on Call are similar, but I find that Mums on Call is more hardcore. All right, my camera cut out on me because my card was full. Anyway, I was just going to say that Mums on Call is pretty hardcore. They do recommend that by the age of 3 months, once your baby has reached certain weight milestones and they're feeding and healthy and everything, that you do sort of push them to sleep through the night, and they do advocate cry it out during that. I never had to do that with my kids because they just learned to sleep through the night before then by using all their other methods, so it's kind of like a last-ditch attempt. And I know that not all mamas who follow Mums on Call have done that, and so that is up to you. But it is something that they will recommend in the book. So be aware of that if you're anti that kind of sentiment. Anyway, I think that's everything. If you've got any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and I will do my best to answer them. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!